Today we have Armando Olmeda, the financial RN, here with us. He's taking out some time from his busy weekend to hang out with us and talk some nursing, some finances, everything like that. So, Armando, thanks for being on here and tell us about yourself.
Oh, Brian, thanks for having me, bro. Your content is amazing, so keep at it. Consistency is what separates people who want to do it versus people who just talk about it. So, yeah, bro, keep at it, man. But thanks for having me. And a little bit about myself. I guess we could all start with we're all nurses. I think that's the dope part about it. I've been a nurse for 3 years, coming on 4 in December. Graduated during COVID, nice. 2020. I got thrown into the fire. And the cool thing about it too, man, was thankfully all I know is being a nurse and being a real estate agent. 1 week I graduated. I passed my NCLEX in October, and then in November I passed my real estate exam. So nice. All I knew was both. So when people tell me like, "Hey, well, how do you do it?" I'm like, "Dude, all I know is that." It's kind of like that's if that's all your environment is, it's not like you know any better. So. Yeah, that's a little bit about myself. Real estate, RN, and then I came into financial services about a year ago, where it really allowed me to tie in my real estate knowledge with a lot of financial literacy, teaching nurses about how to use life insurance to accumulate wealth, how to protect their assets through living trust, through mortgage protection, and then on top of that, taking care of a lot of nurses that are retiring and understanding that a lot of RNs who work all their lives at bedside don't know how to really manage the money afterwards and have questions, and all they do is just go to their local bank, when in reality there's a lot more options for them. So
100%. Let's unwrap that, because I love everything that you're doing. Do the nurse stuff first and then we'll go into the fun stuff right after. So
sure.
Graduated during COVID. What was the first unit you worked on, or what kind of specialty?
ICU, neuro ICU. Yeah, I specifically wanted that because I've been in the hospital during nursing school. I was a transporter. Okay. So that allowed me to be exposed to all.
So you were already in with all the nurses already.
For sure, bro. You know what? I think that definitely gave me a head start, because I was already accustomed to the hospital culture. But crazy enough though, because I was there for 2 years during nursing school, and I saw people like nurses not happy all the time. I saw them distressed, and I saw young nurses too in their 20s, 30s, even 40s too. Is like, dang, they're not that happy all the time. And I'm like, I don't want that to be me. And that, I think, being exposed to that, I knew right away. I was like, yeah, I got to do something else besides nursing, because I'm looking what's ahead of me, and these nurses are actually distressed, stressing out. So.
Are you still working as a nurse?
Yeah. I still love nursing, bro. So I'm still 1-2 days a week. I'm per diem at Kaiser.
Oh, nice.
Here in SoCal.
Oh, look at you making that money at Kaiser.
So yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a great culture. It's a great environment. And it still allows me to keep my skills while I still do my business.
And still in the neuro ICU?
Still in the neuro ICU. Yeah.
Nice, man. And so since you said you graduated NCLEX and then you went and you right afterwards, the month after, you graduated your real estate. Well, you got your real estate certificate. How has that been boosting your career? Is that what you're doing full time right now?
It's basically, yeah, I guess I would say I'm doing full time. I have been too for the past year. Is full time my business in terms of real estate and financial services, and then it's always been part time or per diem nursing.
Nice.
So it's allowed me to go PRN and then obviously develop other skills.
That's really dope. I had a lot of other real estate people on the show too, and they've all been pushing me to get my real estate license too, since I have rental properties. They're like, why not do it too and have an extra side hustle? I just keep putting it on the back burner for some reason, but everyone's like, why not?
Well, you know what though, being a real estate investor, it's not like you are, you don't need a real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be a realtor. And people ask that question, do I need to be a realtor to invest into real estate? I mean, what would you say, Brian? Because my answer is clearly you're a good example of why you don't need.
My answer is no, because I will just say, if me and you were partners on a deal, like, hey man, Armando, find me a 3-1 or 3-2, and you get the commission, I get the house. That's it,
Yeah. and same thing with me. Right now, I'm looking for a flip. So I'm telling everyone, I'm like, hey, you find the flip, you represent me. It does not, I don't care who gets the commission. As long the deal is what we want. So
yeah, that's the thing. I think that's what's I'm juggling in my head is that's what I'm putting on the back burner. It's I don't need it, but then people are saying, oh, your parents and your aunts and uncles are going to retire, so might as well keep the money in the family. You represent them. Like, I get that. But also, like, at the same time, it's like, there's people that know it better, do it more than me. So do I need that money too, or that extra work?
If that's your only objection for not getting it, I think you should get it then. Because it's not that those, dude, it's so easy to get your license. I think it's like the statistic is that 80% of realtors fail within the first like three years. Like it's crazy. Like the unemployment rate for realtors is super high because it's so easy to get. The entry level is so easy that the consistency why people fell off just fall off. So I think I gotta look it up exactly, but yeah, a lot of realtors don't know what they're doing. So at the same
so
time,
maybe I should.
yeah. At the same time, I wouldn't let. If that's your only objection, I think you absolutely should get it because why wouldn't you pocket an extra $10,000
right.
for escrow? For an escrow,
especially in New York. These are big, more expensive houses out here, so probably get a pretty solid commission. Just for like a side tangent, I'm using Aceable Agent. Is that recommended?
What is it? Easeable?
Aceable. That's like the online
courses
for the real estate license. That's what the one that everyone's been telling me.
I haven't taken that one, but no, I don't. I mean, you let me know. So you are going for it.
I have it on my phone. I just gotta keep clicking through and get through it.
Yeah, bro. All right. So I'll tell you a quick recommendation for anybody else listening too, because I do get this question a lot. Is like, hey, how can I become a realtor? Or main question that I get a lot is how can I gain another stream of income outside of nursing? Where I'm not letting go of nursing, but dude, who wouldn't want an extra stream of income? So real estate, being a real estate license is probably one of the easiest, in my opinion, just because of I think I've done it. But in terms of courses, bro, just skip through all those courses. It's not like nursing school. Like skip through it, and then when you're eligible to take the test, just take a crash course, and then
I like it.
And then on Prep, it's called Prep Agent on YouTube. He's a guy who puts so much content out there for real estate. And all I did was listen to him on the way to my exam, and then you're good. You're good.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna skip right on through.
Skip through it. Yeah. I think we're too analytical as nurses. That we want to study everything. Yeah.
I was just recording a podcast right before you that she left nursing already to do financial services as well, and I dig what you're doing because, luckily, she also did a lot of travel nursing, so she was able to get rid of a lot of debt. So she doesn't need the nursing job. She now is in like the financial space, but she's also keeping her license like alive and well because just in case everything blows up, at least you have the most stable job in the background,
for sure,
waiting just in case something does happen. At least you could get paid. You got bills to pay.
We have a backbone. And I think that allows us to be entrepreneurs. Like I speak to I was just with at a gala in SoFi Stadium through a friend who's an RN, and he was telling me about a business partnership that he's doing with 2 other RNs in the Philippines. Like they're opening this company, and I was like, damn, that's dope. And they're like, we related so well because they're like, yeah, if we want to pick up more shifts, like I'll just go pick up more shifts, and then get some extra income, and then go back to my business. I'm like. That's why for nurses, like we have that flexibility to do that.
Oh yeah, it's huge. That's what I talk about with a lot of people. If like you don't need to be doing a crazy amount of OT, like we're working 3, maybe 4 days a week, depending on where you're at. Right. Use those other days to have side hustles and figure out what you really want to do outside of here, because you don't want to be through and through nurse 24/7. It's like, bro, that's not it.
So Brian, I have a question for you, bro. Since you've interviewed a lot of people. And you're saying you're giving the recommendation, right? Develop a side hustle. What would you recommend as a great top 3 side hustles for an RN?
So first thing is first thing I would say, if you're not, even though I don't think it's the most efficient way, if you're not having your 401k or 403b building towards your retirement,
right? Like
just investment purposes, I feel like you guys got to be doing that, and then got to be investing somehow. And then for side hustles, the biggest things are, I do think real estate because is number one, whether it's agent or investor, because agent, if you have the 3-4 days, hopefully you could be off on those Sundays where you're doing open houses. So you could actually get the clientele and potentially get commissions. Investor, you want some sort of extra cash flow coming in as long as you're able to put down the down payment. And then the other two would be stuff like YouTube. Like there's with like the new everyone's on YouTube. Everyone's looking for information. Everyone's trying to figure out something. A lot of people want to. Two males right here, two guys in nursing doing stuff outside of nursing. People are in nursing school right now being like, I know this. I don't want to do this for 30, 35 years. Right. What are these guys doing to hopefully speed up the process?
Yeah.
So
true.
Everyone wants to know knowledge. And then for the third one, it's like being able to like sell digital products, something like that. That looks like the easiest thing.
Cool. Awesome. That's a great answer. I mean, bro, I think there's no wrong answer. And I think everyone answers to what they know best. So you could tell right away your answer is based on what you do. Right.
Yeah, man.
And then you're probably on your way for digital courses. So boom.
Eventually, man. So like if you saw, I have like 24,000 subs on YouTube, but before that,
that's awesome.
Before that, like the way I got to 24,000 subs was I was talking stock picks, crypto picks, everything like that everyone during COVID. So immediate subscribers. And then I got tired of all the research that was going into it. Plus then I got my daughter, then I had my son, and then being on the thanks, man. I have two kids,
nice.
A 3 and 2 year old. So just to be more present as a father, I couldn't be on my computer on my 3 screens here looking at trading stocks all day and then giving the research that I'm doing on YouTube. And then it was just too much. It was more than a full-time job. So
I feel that the main motivation for nurses is freedom.
Oh,
and
100%.
I've noticed, and because I I'm sure you get a lot of DMs and requests as well, is like the same way that I'm like, what's the commonality factor that everyone's motivation, right? Because, some people saw the dream of selling the Lambo.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
I feel like nurses are not motivated by the Lambo. We're motivated by having more financial freedom, more time for our family, and more time to travel. Like, that's all we want, That's literally, I feel like we're not motivated by the money, but by even for male nurses, right? The women, it's more like, I just want to spend more time with my family, my kids, and then travel.
No, 100%. And that's why I also started going like double downing on, instead of the previous financial stock picks of this YouTube channel, I wanted something sustainable that could eventually make a lot of money. And I feel like this is it. The content, information, nurses showing side hustles, because being able to bring more income in, hustle a little bit harder, but smarter could help me potentially bring more income in, help support my family, be able to be home more. Like you said, everything that if I could do this for 1 to 2 hours on a Sunday, I'm right back upstairs with my kids and my wife for the rest of the day.
That's the goal, man. That's the goal.
And then, so it's not about me. This is about you. We're trying to figure out about you, man. So, real estate agent. You've been doing it for the same amount of time as you doing nurse. How's that working for you? Like, how are you getting your clientele? How many houses have you sold?
Yeah, good question. So in terms of my clientele, most of my clientele now has shifted to become healthcare. Nice. Thankfully, a lot of nurses are my clients. I'm working with a couple of doctors right now, just partnering with really just healthcare and sphere of influence. Social media is another tactic. So I think it's just leveraging things where we don't have to be there in person that will bring us business. Open houses are great. I've gotten business from open houses, but obviously you have to be there. Your physical presence has to be there. So the best way is really just for social media, like finding ways to leverage your business. And in terms of houses I've sold, I don't know the total houses I sold, but this year I think I'm on 6. I'm on 6 in total. So I've been averaging about 1 a month. In terms of,
that's really good.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. I feel like I could do way better, dude. And then I recently have made a couple of shifts in my business, but I got to be thankful for where I'm at, and especially working as an RN and then doing real estate and doing my financial services. So,
yeah, one of my old coworkers, he's no longer a nurse. He doesn't even keep his nurse license active anymore. I think he's actually gotten pretty big in the real estate agent game here on the East Coast. The name is Michael Wilches. He was a ICU nurse, and now he's full-time real estate agent investor.
That's
Dude
awesome.
is killing it. Like every time I run into him,
he's producing.
Like I don't know which brokerage you work for, but he works for EXP, and they have
Okay.
like this whole like tiered system too. So there's like a cap. Like he had me go into like one of the meetings with him, which was pretty dope to see. They have like a cap amount that the brokerage could actually take from you
Right.
for their fees, and then everything else goes towards you from then on out. And then
Yeah, I'm familiar with EXP.
it's like a referral thing too. Like you could do, if say you referred me, now every house that I sell, you get some sort of cut from it.
Yeah, it's a good way to build like your it's a good way to build your residual income because you're able to get other real estate agents as long as they're under your team. Then every time they close, you close. It's kind of like the WFG model for like financial services. A lot of people like I don't want to call it the pyramid, right? But it's like you get someone.
But hey,
I don't associate with the pyramid or WFG because of those reasons. It's like all recruiting. It's like it's like I'd rather just be product based, knowledge based, and know what I'm talking about versus just let me go recruit my nursing friend that I just met. I'm like, hey, bro, you should join this. Big difference in between.
Huge difference. If they're good agents and they are representing, technically, if they're under you, they have to represent you. If they're knowledgeable, they're doing the right thing. Yeah, cool. Everyone gets a paycheck, which is pretty dope. So real estate agent, and then now you're also a financial strategist. Can you go into what you do there?
Yeah, so it's just, everything from income protection and then retirement planning. So income protection is basically just life insurance, using it one term and perm, right? You got term as in like, we usually do that every time we close on a house. We work with a lot of realtors and lenders. Every time they close on a house, we're able to secure their home, right? So for example, if you buy a house that's $500,000, right? You got 2 kids. If God forbid something were to happen to you, your kid is not going to be able to take on the mortgage. So we just get something to insure the loan of the house. So instantly it's debt free. That's term, super simple. And then the other one is permanent, where it's more like we use IULs or specific insurance products to grow your wealth outside of your 401k. I think given our 401k is just Becky with the blue hair always tells us this is what we should invest in the HR department. But in reality, sometimes that's not the best option for us. So it's not to shy away from 401ks. If your 401k, for example, in your company is offered a Roth, that's something that I did. I converted my pre-tax 401k to a Roth 401k just because it really depends on where you feel taxes are going to go in the future. But that's just one hint that every nurse could do because every nurse has a 401k.
No, see, that's dope because the previous person I just interviewed right before you, same thing. I love that talk too because I asked her the same question. Since I have a 403b, we don't have the match. So is it as good? So obviously it's already for me, it's a red flag that they don't have a match because it's a 403b. And then most 401ks, 403bs, whatever it is, you don't get to choose which funds it goes into because they only have a set list that you could choose from. So it's not even like the best percentage gain type places or best funds even available if you're to go on like an open marketplace type of thing. So
you have it. Nothing's free in life. So like your 401k, your mutual funds, they all have expense ratios. So when you guys are looking at your just break down and open the illustration and look at the expense ratios, and then everyone has an administration fee, and then many times like it's either Lincoln or Fidelity or one of these companies. Just look at the fees that go associated with it, and then break it down and compare it to your other products. And then I really, because I review a lot of people's policies or retirement plans, and it's just really putting them in the best position to like, hey, like this is what you're doing right now, this is what you could be doing, or this is what you're doing now, and you're doing an amazing job. Like keep at it, keep going.
Let me ask you the same question that I asked her. Broad question. Obviously depends on the person's personal finances, but thoughts on a 401k? Is it a scam or not?
No, for sure, no, bro. No way. Everyone who says that is like, okay, well, I don't think so. I guess I don't want to bash anybody's opinion, but I don't think so. No, absolutely not, because the 401k was made for you to retire, to put something towards retirement. Many people, I forgot the statistic, many people don't have any money for retirement.
100%. Yep.
Like if you don't put a 401k, like they're not going to save and invest their money. They're going to spend it. So yeah, is it the best option? It's probably not the best option, But is it better than nothing? Absolutely. Like have something versus nothing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I guess I should have put that in. It's better than nothing because a lot of nurses are not financially literate enough to even invest outside of the company's 401k, 403b,
right.
whatever you got. Let alone do you even, if they don't even have that, they probably don't have a regular Roth IRA to grow that. So, like I was also talking to her about, I have coworkers that I've been working as a nurse for 12 years. So I have people
Oh, nice.
above me in like 16 years, 20 years or whatever, or even people like brand new that
Right.
they didn't even know our hospital had a retirement account. So they don't even have any type of
Yeah.
account. I'm like, what do you mean? Like you've been here 16 years and you never contributed a cent to something? So I was like, so what are you going to do when you're going to retire in like 10 years? You got nothing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's kind of what we, you break down is like, first you got to figure out at what age would you like the opportunity not to work anymore?
Yep.
And your desired age, 50, 60. All right, cool. How much money do you need at 50 to live off of so you can feel completely comfortable? All right, 5, 10, 10,000. All right, cool. So now a simple number, the same way you could figure out your goal, the same way you got goals at the beginning of the year, fitness goals. I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, now we got to get your financial goal. So you get that 10,000 and you times it by 200. And for example, now when you get 2 million.
Yeah.
So now it's clear as day. Now, by definition, you got to have $2 million in your investment accounts by the age of 60. So you could, by definition, live off of that at $10,000 a month for the rest of your life. That's just an old financial number, but that's something that anybody right now listening could probably at least apply to and be like, ask yourself those 3 questions, and now you have a clear financial goal of what to get to.
And that's dope too. So you also went into a lot of the big products is life insurance. A lot of people say that's a scam, but I personally have a whole life insurance. I want to do a few things with it because it's a cash valued life insurance policy.
Nice.
But when I talk to people about it, they're like, damn, I don't know, because I hear all these things about term life is better or whole life is a scam. So what could you tell us about that?
Yeah, about whole life. Well, it depends on what the goals are, bro. Like, what are your goals? What's your goal for the whole life?
Okay, so easily surface level. If I die, my wife and kids are good, so that's perfectly fine. I have a $500,000 life insurance policy that will grow over time because of cash value and all the dividends, all that stuff. So, but the main thing is, because I'm contributing a good amount to it, is to eventually use the cash value to borrow from, buy real estate or buy any type of assets, and keep the money flowing using, I guess the model people say is infinite banking.
Borrow against yourself.
Yeah, you borrow against yourself, your own bank, and just keep recycling the same money and money over again until you feel like you're good.
Simple, bro. You got it. So like, I mean, just to keep it like real simple in terms of like without showing any illustrations, but yeah, the whole goal of like a whole life or an IUL, which is the same thing as a whole life, except, and you get stocks then. So whole life is a fixed rate of return. You're getting a 5% no matter what. Index, you get anywhere from 0 to 12. So over the long run, index outperforms the whole life. But why people love whole life is for you borrow the money, and the money, let's say you got 100 grand and you pull out 50 grand to go do an EDU or buy a house. The money keeps on growing like you never pulled it out. So it grows at that 5%. Now on the IUL, you're getting a higher rate of return because what's the average rate of return for the S&P over
like
the past
8%?
30 years? Yeah, 8, 10%. So you're beating it every year. But when you do borrow the money, it's only going to keep growing at whatever's left in that account. But of course, the goal is for you to use the money, buy a house. For a lot of my real estate investors, my friend just did an ADU. So he pulled out 30 grand from his IUL, did the ADU within 2-3 months, and now he's just going to pay it back from the rental income he's getting. And that's amazing. That's
then you're right back in it.
Instead of your 401k where you're limited to retire at 59 years old, well, now you got an IUL that you could use it after the first year. And now you could go ahead and use it.
And just for the people that are listening, if you don't pay back the money, that 30 grand just comes out gets subtracted from your death benefit. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. So So relating it to real estate, we teach a lot of nurses on just other ways to leverage their income to buy more real estate. Because ultimately, that's the ultimate goal. Is just use the money, buy assets, and then knowing the difference between the asset and the liability.
That's huge. The financial literacy in the nursing space is minimal because we go through all these crazy classes throughout nursing school, and finances is just not one of them. And then when you're rubbing shoulders with doctors, pharmacists, all these, even like nurse practitioners, depending on where you're living, all these high income individuals, that lifestyle creep happens, and then now you're like living paycheck to paycheck, and you got nothing to show for it come time for retirement or stuff like that. You're buying the Rollies, the Lambos, everything like that.
Well, what ends up happening, I think, and this is just common knowledge for all of us. Like we don't, at least for me and a lot of people I speak to in my community, is we don't come from money. So the moment we become a nurse, now you start getting these paychecks, and it happens to a lot of first responders. I have a good friend who's a firefighter. Same thing, cop as well. You start getting all this income because you work a ton, and you're like, I don't know what to do with the money, so let me go buy a Raptor. Let me go buy a Ford. And then you start spending the money where in reality, if that was actually saved and invested within 10, 20 years, you don't have to be a cop anymore. You don't have to be a nurse anymore.
That's such a huge thing too. And then say if you use that extra money, not to plug life insurance here, because obviously people are still going to have their thoughts on it. But say you put it towards like a cash value one, and you're able to keep borrowing and buying these rental properties, you actually end up with more money in the future, because first, rental properties bring you in cash, like passive income, I guess, for the rent. And then you get to depreciate the asset in taxes. And then I'm pretty sure since you're borrowing from yourself, you could probably claim that on your taxes that you're borrowing money in some end.
No,
is that?
Yeah, so the money from an insurance product is tax free. So the reason it's tax free, so you own your house, right, Brian? So so when you pull out equity, like cash out, right? You want to pull out equity, that's not taxed either because it's a loan. So anything that's loan is not taxable. Same thing with the insurance. It's technically a loan from your policy. That's why it's not taxable, but it's not counted as income either on your end. So if you make 100,000 this year and you pull out 100 grand from your insurance, you're made 100 grand still.
Now, and there's no interest payment on it.
Depending on the company that you're using. So for example, NLG is a common company that we use. After the 10th year, it's interest free. It's a wash loan. And then before that, it's probably 1% to 2%. But you could do arbitrage without getting too into detail and confusing people. Like if they might charge you, I believe 3%, but you're also reflecting on what the S&P gets. So if the S&P gets 7, then you're actually getting an arbitrage.
Yeah, you get the difference between the two.
Yeah, you get the difference. But to go back to your original example, bro, like real estate, right? So I actually just made a video on this. Like the caption was how to retire through real estate as a nurse working as an RN. And for example, the strategy and one that I'm currently in the journey of doing that, and I'm sure you are too, is buy your first property, right? As a nurse, within the first 2 years, just work, have a goal. Buy your first property that's cheap, that's not really gonna max you out. Within a second, third year, you could become a first-time home buyer again and buy with a minimum down payment again, given the right rules. You buy your second property within the second year, and then by the third year, you're buying your third home. But by then, your first property has already gained enough appreciation where now you could use that equity and to buy your third home. So as you're working, renovating your third home in your third year, that second property has, guess what?
Appreciated
too, bro. Now you could pull out. By theory, if you played it right, your second property would then be buying your fourth property, and then by then, you got 4 properties. In your 20s, you haven't even hit 30 yet, or whenever you start to become a nurse. And now you got 4 real estate properties that now are producing you income, and that income of that rental income is actually going to help you qualify for your next property.
It's huge. It's such a great strategy because one of the same guy that I was talking to you about before, that's exactly what he did. He bought a duplex, renovated it. It appreciated a bunch. He did like a cash out refi, got that money out and bought the next one. Same thing, bought the next one. And even if like the interest rates, and even if the money isn't like if the interest rates is hurting like the cash flow or anything, you could always like pull a HELOC too, and then you could do it that way if you didn't want to increase your interest rate for your mortgage of that house, because everything ends up being, at the end of the day, I guess it's a little bit more high level. At the end of the day, you just keep recycling the same amount of money over and over again, using the same dollar over and over again.
Well, you hit a good point, and that was another topic too. Is like equity is like dead money. So it sounds real sexy. Oh, my house is worth 200,000. I got 200,000 equity, but dude, you can't even touch it unless you either sell it or you got to do what Brian just mentioned. You got three options. It's either a HELOC, which is you don't change your original interest rate. It's kind of like a credit card. You get a second loan and you use it as you need. That doesn't touch your first one. That's one way to access your equity. The second way to access your equity is you could just take out a second loan and just put out a lump sum. That's still not touching your original interest rate. And then the third way is you just do what Brian's friend just did, is you just pull out cash and you just get a whole entirely one new loan. But that's going to change your interest rate.
Yeah. So there's a whole different like types of exit strategies. You got to figure out what is best for you. But if you're doing the math right, and then you have all these houses that are bringing in, say, even if on the low end, like $200 extra a month after PITI, you're making money that you never had in the first place. So it's extra income coming in, building your wealth, building your equity, everything like that.
Well, guys, I mean, let's get on game, right? The 4 ways that you can make money in real estate is cash flow. As Brian said, you can make $200 a month. Cool, whatever. That's the first way to make money. The second way to make money is through appreciation. What we're just talking about. The market's going to go up or down regardless if you sleep, pick up shifts, or whatever you want to do. I guess historically, though, it's been up 5% a year. So the second way you make money is appreciation. The third way you make money through real estate is through taxes. You get tax write-off, you get depreciation that Brian mentioned as well. You get to write off all those expenses. So if you're actually paying money to the tax system as a nurse, $10,000, $15,000 a year, which a lot of us are, look into getting a real estate investment, to help you with taxes. And then the fourth way you make money through real estate is it's called mortgage pay down. So have your tenant just pay down your mortgage, and then you're making money there too.
Yeah, it's huge. And like we talked about, it's to see nurses working 30, 35 years and not having side hustles or not even like thinking about other things outside of the box. It's tough to see when, say, like how old are you? Like 20 something?
26.
26. See you young guns. And like, look, you're gonna be doing real estate. You have your real estate agent. You got the financial strategist. You have so many ways that you're already making income. And then you as an individual by yourself, 26, you're potentially not going to be working as a nurse till you're 65, because you're setting yourself up to probably get out of it by 30. Like, like to see a lot of these like older nurses like breaking their backs and to live in retirement for like 10 years before they get sick. No, that just doesn't vibe with me enough to keep doing this forever,
No, for sure. I mean, and I mean, nursing is amazing. I love nursing. So you still do nursing, right, Brian?
I do. But way easier job now.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. If anything, it provides us better patient care because, dude, we come into work. I come to work like kind of. I come to work happy. I'm like, dude, I was like, I haven't been here like in a week. I'm like, and I'm looking around. I feel kind of new, and I'm like, so I'm walking around. I'm talking to people because I'm like, it's just a different environment, So if you could. So to your point, a lot of us just weren't taught, and those older nurses they just didn't know better because before that was a reality. Like before, all you had to do was work at your job, contribute to your 401k, buy a house, have kids and family, and you'd be good. But now these days, because you have inflation, everything's outrageous. Pricing of your income didn't really go up. Now we're facing a different reality than a lot of our parents did.
Yeah, 100%. And like what you said for yourself, you go into your shifts happy, right? Like you're like, like cool. I'm here. I know I'm gonna make money today because I'm actively here doing work. Whereas like a lot of nurses, maybe it's the burnout, maybe it's like the floor toxicity, maybe something like that. Like some of them like come to work like already mad or hating their job. Whereas if there's someone like you, me that have stuff that is working for them outside of the walls of the hospital or wherever they work, knowing that some other money is coming in, you walk a different way, you feel a different way, knowing that this is cool. Maybe nursing is my side hustle and other stuff is my primary stuff.
You come in with a higher level energy, higher frequency that it just radiates throughout your life, though. Like that's how you should operate. You shouldn't operate from a low level frequency. But bro, that same mission though is like, we're talking about it, but still a lot to get from point A to point B is difficult. And that's what I see when I speak with a lot of nurses, is like a lot of people get stuck with a high mortgage where they gotta work. Like it's called, you get yourself into a trap where you buy an expensive car, let's put for example, right? $1,000 a month for a Mercedes that you're driving to work every day. Then you got a mortgage rate these days that's like $3,000, $4,000, easy. So now you're looking at $5,000 already just for your liabilities, and then not on top of your kids, your wife, whatever else you're doing. And then if you get in your Starbucks every day, and then you're buying your figs, and then you want to take that travel, bro, your expenses are like $7,000-8,000 a month. Like, in what room do you have any room to really like invest or learn a new skill? You have to work full time. So many times, the very first step when I'm speaking with nurses is, dude, before we even talk about IULs or real estate or talking about investments, we first got to get the foundation right, which is the financial literacy, the budgeting. Like, what are your expenses? Where are you leaking money? And then let's see what we could bring back.
So speaking of that, because I guess since personal finance is personal, right? Do you get a lot of pushback from nurses or whoever you're working with about them actually showing like their budget?
Oh, yeah. You know what though, Brian? No, because I'm not. What's crazy enough is at the hospital, I'm not like slanging like what I do. I'm not. I feel like I should, because when they find out, they're like, "Oh, damn!" I'm like, but everyone that kind of speaks to me or comes to me is already kind of open. But to answer your question, I have had people who have had that hesitancy, and that comes with just trust. I don't know who you are, or I just don't want to expose myself like that. And then truthfully, they're just not the right client, or they're just not ready yet. But when you're ready, you're ready. Like there's so many other people to speak to that if you feel like you're gonna reveal something that, then really you're just not ready yet. Like you need to still maybe go through a little bit more pain for you to be like, all right,
like, damn, I need help.
Let's do something about this.
Yeah. So I would think that has to be such a hard thing for a lot of people to admit their personal finances or something like that. Have you come across clients or potential clients that they think they know their budget, and then once you write it down for them, they're just like, oh shit?
Yeah. So those 3 questions, it's called a FIN, your financial independence number. First, we figure out your FIN, right? And then the second thing that we do is on investor.gov, which could be found on Google. We type in on there is 7 questions. The first question is, how much money do you currently have for investments? So I ask them, like, Brian, so how much money do you have for investments, bro? Oh, 10,000. All right, cool. 10,000. All right, cool. So how much monthly contribution are you putting away right now? $300. Awesome. Is that the most you could put? Yeah, cool. $300. All right, cool. So then the third question, we put the 8% interest rate, and then we're like, okay, when do you want to retire? You said 50, you're 30 years old, so you got 20 years. All right, put that in. Cool. Calculate. All right, Brian, by doing this, bro, for the next 30 years, for 20 years, by the time you hit 50, you're only going to have $500K. So you're a little bit short of your $2 million, bro. It's not me. Like, I'm just a messenger. So it's simple. You either retire later or you save more money. What do you want to do? It's not me, bro. It's just simple.
That simple.
It's just yeah. And then they're like, shit.
But I feel like a lot of people, like, you tell them that, and then all of a sudden they're like, damn, you hurt my feelings. Kind of thing like that.
What I guess the pushback I would ever get would be from people older than me that just don't see me as a credible source, which is completely normal. I think especially with your peers and like in your unit, right? Yeah. There's a lot of people in my unit that are more older, like the older heads, right? And then I just never have done business with them because I see why though. They look at this 26-year-old kid, I'm 55.
What
And
does he know?
But hey, you know what? When they're ready, man. I at the end of the day, I think what we do in person and real life is gonna show. And everything I do everything I talk about, I do in person. So I do real estate, I do Airbnb, I do IULs, like I invest into all these things. I do it myself before I teach anybody.
All right. You just said Airbnb. You have your own Airbnb?
I got two, and I launched about 2 months ago, and it's been a huge learning.
Are you doing arbitrage?
No, they're my own Airbnbs, but
oh dang, look at you, bro.
I have the opportunity to do arbitrage. Dude, what's crazy is marketing, bro. Social media. Like I just post my Airbnbs, and then people are like, "Oh, I have one. Can you help me?" And then, so I can see where the arbitrage opportunities are going to come.
So you own the properties where you do your Airbnb?
So it's really a duplex turned into a triplex, and then the 2 units are Airbnb, and I live in one of them.
You're killing it, bro.
Yeah.
You're killing it.
It's been a struggle.
So
it's a learning curve for sure.
Did you learn all on your own?
Yeah, and I'm still learning, bro. So like three hacks that I could get right now for Airbnb is to get ranked up to the top. It's good to be active every 2 to 3 days. Active meaning you gotta just change a photo, rearrange a photo. Airbnb just likes to see that the users are active. They're not like forgetting. So that already has alone gotten me bookings. The second thing is your photos, right? You want to give like your 5 best photos,
like
and
professional
at least
photos.
put 25 to 30 at least. And then the third thing is obviously reviews. So one thing that I did to get my reviews up, especially when you got no reviews, is you have your girl or you have your family just book your spot, bro, and give you a review because you got to get those reviews up somehow, you know. So those are 3 hacks out.
Did you have any mentors teach you how to do this, or you're just slinging it?
I have one mentor. His name is Andy Choi, but he's not really Airbnb. He does more real estate development. So what he does is he does ground up units in LA.
Okay.
And he's always looking to raise capital. He's always looking for investors for his build outs. So he's one of my mentors because that's what I see as myself doing in terms of in the real estate space.
And do you pay for like the mentorship?
You know what, dude? I'm a huge fan of mentorship. And I do pay for mentorship. Yeah.
Because that's a thing too. I had another like a Airbnb person, her show's gonna go out this week, I think.
Nice.
And she learned everything on her own, but it took her
forever
to figure it out. And then she's all about now, like when there's so many experts in the space, obviously you have to vet out who's a guru versus someone that can actually help you.
Right.
And when you find that one person that can actually get you to where you want to be, it expedites everything. Instead of it taking a year, you might be able to learn in a month, and your instant cash flow is like quick.
Yeah.
So it's always been like a thought to, not for me yet, because I don't think I'm at a certain place to be expertise in something, but to do more mentorships myself to learn what I want to learn.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy too, bro, is like many times we feel like we're not ready, and I say this because this is me. Sometimes we feel like we're not ready. Like I don't feel like I'm an expert yet, but in reality, like many people will pay you or want your time and talk to you just to ask you questions. And what I'm learning though is that, dude, your time, like, is so limited. Like, especially you have kids, right? So like if you're answering questions or on the phone, people for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day, like, dude, that's taking away a lot of time. Like, how can you monetize that and how could you leverage it? Well, you could package it in a course or a membership. I'd be like, hey, dude, I love your questions, but I have this all in a course, $9.99. Go buy it, and then we can review after.
That's there's a real estate nurse too. His name is Tyron Tyson. I'm dropping too many names on here, but he is dope as hell. He's the urban nurse on YouTube, and he does real estate out in Baltimore, Maryland. And he always like hits me up. He's like, how come you don't have a course out yet? You know too much. Like you got to be putting something out, especially like you said, people always ask me questions.
Yeah, dude.
And if you're giving out your time like that for free, you got to get something out of it.
And people don't really appreciate it either, though. Like, that's something I'm learning too, is like people ask me so many, like, and I love helping people because I think we're nurses, like, we're so caring, bro. And like, I love helping it, but I'm realizing, like, I mean, dude, to be honest, like, they don't really care about me like that either. Like, they just want the information.
They just want the information or something, and it they won't even go to you if they like they'll ask you the question about certain houses or whatever. Let's
Right, right.
example, but then they won't even go to you be their realtor.
Oh man, that's funny, bro. Yeah, that just happened. That just happened. That happened twice this year already. Like, dude, you milk me so much for questions and answers, and then you end up going with someone else. Like, what the you know?
What happened there? It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the best thing in that case, bro, is just release. Like, you just gotta like forgive because it's more of a weight on your shoulders than theirs in reality. So you just gotta let go and forgive them, forgive yourself, and then just like keep following God, bro, and just keep going more because reality, it's only gonna make you better.
oh, 100%. Keeping that little hatred in you definitely kills you on the inside. But going back into like the course or something, like you just brought up, like, I guess like a DM that I had from someone else saying people would pay for, I guess, like your mentorship, my mentorship, as long as you're like 2 to 10 steps ahead of someone, you're ahead of someone and they could learn something. Because even when they get to that 2 or 10 steps, you should potentially be another 2 to 10 steps ahead of them.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, ultimately, I guess the goal of my mentor told me to this is the mentee should eventually pass the mentor. Like, if you see that as like, damn, my student is like killing it, like, hey, like at the end of the day, like that's what it's all about, abundance. At the end of the day, there's so much money to go around. I think the limited mindset is more like, oh, I'm not going to share what I know, but dude,
that's huge. Like the whole nurses eating their young thing could fall into this too. They don't want to give you all the tips and tricks because they want to see you kind of fail a little bit, so they keep keep coming back to you.
And yeah, and you see that in the unit too, right? Like,
oh, bro,
yeah, the unit toxicity is crazy, man. That's the only thing I don't like about nursing is the toxicity that comes with like, all the nurses, like, dude, to change the shift report. Like, I've had some bad experiences. I'm like, man, forget this thing, bro. Like, I'm just gonna focus on me.
Do the people you work with know that you're doing all this stuff outside of work?
They know because of my social media. I don't really talk about it, and that's probably like a limiting belief as well. It's like, but what's crazy enough is I speak to so many nurses on a daily basis, just from everywhere, like social media, different places. But yeah, my own facility, I don't really talk about it like that. But my social media kind of speaks for itself. That's kind of my marketing. So I'm like, hey, just follow me. And then when they follow me, they're like, oh, like you do this. I'm like, yeah, dude, if you need help,
let me you just slide that in there afterwards.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that. Do they look at you differently after they find out what you do on the social media?
Yeah, I feel like, I honestly don't know. I feel like I care myself.
You're not there often enough to know.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I'm not. Yeah, they're there way more than I am. So
they're probably talking whenever you're not there. You know that guy that just gave me a report? He's killing it. I hate him. I hate him because he's not doing this every day.
Sometimes it's best to be the silent killer, though. At least for me, I'm like super humble. So I'm like you won't even know what I do unless I tell you.
No, that's good. So, do you see yourself in the future totally being out of nursing?
Yeah, good question, bro. I'm in a big crossroads right now. I'm kind of prepping myself to go to CRNA school only because I truly still love the profession. And then we have some family history with the CRNAs.
Okay.
I won't get into, but that has a deep passion. But then the other side of me is more like, well, dude, if I just double down on real estate, and then I've always had a passion for entrepreneurship. So I was like, it's either I start CRNA school or I start a business, like a medical business, where I'm like, all right, I got to do something though. It's not going to be NP. For sure, it's not going to be NP. Yeah. It's not worth it at all.
Bro, just to cut you off, I dropped that NP school because I was like, this ain't worth it.
Hell no, bro. All that time you're putting in for what, like a $5 raise? If not even like a pay cut?
way more responsibility. What from where I'm at in New York? So we work like 3 days a week. So doing the math, most of the NPs work 4 days a week. If I just picked up one extra shift, I might actually be making more than you.
Exactly. I mean, your day job is better because you're like what, 8 to 5 now, 9 to 5, but as an NP, but yeah, that's not even. Yeah, bro.
I don't know. It ain't that. It doesn't hit the right way number wise for me because I guess I'm like a numbers person. Be like, nah, less responsibility when I leave work. I have nothing in my head anymore from the job, and if I work that extra shift, I'm probably making the same as you or a little bit less, or maybe even a lot more, depending on how much experience you have in on the job. So, like, is it worth it? I'm not sure.
So I think just in terms of like I like the courses, bro. I think now this time, not even next year, this time probably 3-6 months, you're gonna have a course. And I tell you that because I want to have my course too, so we can hold each other accountable.
Oh, that'd be dope. Yeah. So wait, let's jump back to CRNA. If you're young, obviously, so if you get in, you're going to be done by 30, 31, 32, depending on when you get in.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to put everything you're doing on the back burner for CRNA school?
Yeah, good question, bro. So you know what? My whole goal, what I'm doing now, is to set myself up for CRNA though, and I put that so I can at least have the option. I like to have my options open.
Oh, yeah.
So the way I'll do that is I have 2 properties, and one property cash flows me, I think like $1,500. I think it can be $1,500. And then the one I'm at right now, the triplex, this one should be completely paid off. So my mortgage is $55,000, and then $5,500, and then that's completely covered through the Airbnbs. So given interest rates drop, I refinance, let's say to $45,000, I can at least now cash flow an extra like $1,000-$2,000, live for free, and then have my businesses pay for my CRNA school. So I'm like, all right, you know what? If I stack up and do it right, and I have certain cash flow coming in, let's say I get one more property, right, through the guidance of Brian. If we could get one more to help you with that extra stream of income, then you could possibly survive through CRNA school with, having income still coming in, and, and like just being in school, like, which is kind of fun. Not gonna lie.
I'm really pulling for you. If you could pull that off,
yeah,
you'll be killing it, man. Because like, say, I already know CRNA is making at least $250K. I feel like that's minimum. It has to be minimum. And New York, they start at like $250. At the hospital I'm working at, they start at $250. But then I had me name dropping all the time. I had Josh Condato on here.
I think I saw that podcast.
He's in Michigan or where? Green Bay, so Wisconsin. He's making $250K a year, but that's only working 26 weeks. If you wanted to work the whole year, that's $500K, but he does real estate on the side. So it's like, he's like, I don't need it. So
wow.
It's like, so he gets like half a year off.
I saw that one. It's because he does like registry, right? He gets 1099.
He gets 1099.
That's why he gets paid more. Yeah. I mean, he gets taxed a lot more, but that's probably why he gets real estate.
Real estate, and then I'm sure he writes off his home as his office. I'm sure he writes off everything.
You gotta do one. Yeah.
You just get a good CPA on your side, and the blurred lines become more blurred. That's really it.
Yeah, I wouldn't let that deter you anyways, though. I would do what he's doing too. I would totally do that.
He's killing it out there, which I think is amazing. So like, yeah, if you could do that, that's huge. And then, so for your mortgages, right? So I've always looked into it, and some people I know actually did it. It's called the recasting a mortgage. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of that. Damn, remind me what recasting?
So recasting, say your house right now, your mortgage is $5,500 a month. That's with, what's your interest rate? Like 7 or 6.7 or whatever. So say you're able to pay off more towards principal in a month. Usually like the minimum is like 5 or 10K.
Yeah.
You tell your bank, I'm going to pay my regular mortgage, and then I'm gonna put like a $10,000 on top just to the principal. Can you recast my mortgage? So what it does is they keep your interest rate, and now they just recalculate your principal interest based off of your new number. And and you stay at the same end date. Like you stay at your same end date. So say you started the mortgage now, so in 30 years it's 2054. You're still going to end on 2054, but now your principal and interest has changed because you dropped your principal so much. So now you technically have more cash in your pocket because your mortgage payment is lower. So now you can throw that extra money that you saved back into the principals. Now you're just like speeding up that process of paying it down. Nice. Or if you want extra money, you could just pocket that extra money. But
yeah. So okay, so that's a way to lower your monthly payment. Is like
lower your monthly payment without changing your interest rate. Yeah.
Got it.
Or time frame.
Yeah, because I mean, right now interest rates aren't dropping. Right now they're like still the same. So yeah, if you're looking for lower payment, now the argument could be, well, if I have 10 grand to put down on my principal, can I get a higher interest rate somewhere else and then just wait till refinance? Or you could also get rid of PMI once your equity goes up.
Yeah,
Just call the company 12% when it's
whole
20%.
bunch of stuff. Like I'm thinking about doing that recast for my primary mortgage because if I sent out 10K to principal right now, it would drop my mortgage payment like $400 a month, and then I'll just continue paying the norm, like what I was paying already before, and so now it's just paying down the principal even faster. And since I already have a HELOC, my money's liquid anyway. I can just keep pulling from it no matter what, and as long as I'm paying it back. Like, exit strategies, always like math guy over here, or number guy. Got to figure out ways to always make money work because because I'm sure you see it with your financial stuff. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're good, buddy. You're good.
I'm sure you see it with your financial planning. I'm sure a lot of people have like too much money in their checking account and not in a high yield saving, or probably in like an investment account working for them where could be doing way more for them.
Yeah, true. I mean, that's kind of what I was going to ask you was you using your equity. Not everyone even touches their equity. Like the fact that you got a HELOC and then you're recasting. So I was going to ask you, like, in terms of your HELOC, are you using it to buy more real estate? Are you doing it for like certain investments, or what's your strategy?
So I have like around 150K I could use from my lock that I could use towards rental property. Just I haven't found one recently yet. And then I was also thinking about like rental arbitrage for Airbnb. I just need to like actually sit down and see the pros and cons of each. But for right now, while I'm waiting, every now and then I'll take a few grand out of it and throw it into my brokerage account. And I don't know if you know stocks that much, but I do things called like selling covered calls and cash secured puts, where you can make weekly income, guaranteed weekly income, depending on the stock you have. Like the market will pay you. Well, I use it for stocks that pay you anywhere from like $1 to like $400 per contract. It's selling options. What I'm doing.
Yeah. I remember. Yeah, I remember that during COVID. Yeah, I don't know well enough to talk about it like you, but I do remember that. Yeah, you put it like for what, 30 days, 60 days out, or what? Do you put it like a week out?
If you're buying options, which I don't do, that's what you would do. If you're selling options, I do it a week or 2 weeks out. And if you're on the call side, that means, to put it as basic as possible, you either have the money, you're putting up the money to buy 100 shares as collateral, or you're putting your 100 shares of a stock as collateral. And no matter which way you go, you pick either low or high, and you're going to be paid out something called a premium, which is automatic. So if you follow my account, every Monday or Tuesday, I'll post how much I made that week off selling options. And usually it's anywhere ranging from $600 to like $2,400 that week. So it's like,
that's pretty cool. Well, I didn't know that. That's cool, bro. I'm gonna check it out, bro.
So like that's what some of the people have been telling me, is like, you do this all the time, but you're not making a course. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's true, man. Or community. I just launched my I call it House Wealth Pros, which is my community.
Oh yeah, I see that on your.
Yeah, we done 3 nursing meetups live in person, and each one has had at least anywhere between 30 to 50 people, all nurses, different walks of life coming. And we talk about, the first one was actually a toy drive that we did for Christmas. The second one was how to nurse your taxes. So we brought a CPA, tax professional, put us on game. And then the third one was how to use your nursing income to buy more real estate. So we just kind of like do meetups and talk about like financial literacy stuff. Like, all right, how can we better ourselves? So I started a community where like-minded nurses like ourselves who want to build wealth outside of nursing could come together and just learn from each other, really, because community is what's really gonna save us. Because there might be someone that you might know, or better yet, I'm going to New York, I need a place to rent. Why don't I just rent from Brian, who's another nurse, versus someone else? Like, I don't know. Like, why not just keep it in-house? And he knows how I work. He knows who I am already. So he feels more comfortable. And then I feel more comfortable knowing that he's a nurse. So it's just kind of building that network, you know?
No, that's really dope. And we're going on an hour here. I don't want to take up more of your time because you're super busy, dude. If people want to reach out to you, how would they reach out to you?
Instagram, Armando Olmeda, it's my full name. And then you can always reach out to me through there. And then from there, we could just DM, just shoot me a DM, and then we'll contact from there.
And if you have any advice for nurses trying to get to entrepreneurship or to retire, what do you got?
number one tip, man. I think that the biggest thing I hope people bag is fear. And I say that because it's the same with me. I'm just like you. We're all going through it. But the number one thing is always fear and limiting beliefs. Feeling that because you're a nurse, there's nothing else you could do, or feeling that you're too tired when in reality, it's just you're just making excuses for yourself not to do it. So get through that fear, take the next step, and then it doesn't hurt if you don't try. And the best thing about it is because you're a nurse, you have the best fallback job in the world. You have a great backbone, and you could always get back on your feet. But the worst thing is going through life and then regretting not trying. At least try it and see what happens.
Dang, wise words from a young dude, man. So,
yeah, bro. Appreciate it, bro.
Armando, thanks for hanging out with me, and I appreciate you.
I'll talk to you.
Peace.
Bye.